this video, I'm going to just do a really quick rendering of the scale figure over here, just so that we can start to see the concepts that I've already introduced to you when we've rendered other things, and we can start to see them applied to this drawing. Now, a couple of things about the scale figure. We want to make sure that when we render this person and whatever they're wearing, that we choose from the markers that are already in the rendering. We do not want this person to be wearing a neon green dress, because it'll be the first thing that your viewer sees. So I'm going to just begin by bringing in some strokes for her hair. Again, really loose. My tendency here is now to go back to my tendency to sketch here. And I'm going to bring in a couple different colors into her hair. Again, it's just like every other texture, right? And she's going to have, of course, she's right next to the window here. The light's going to be coming in from the window, so I can bring in some light to her hair, or if I had like a yellow pencil that I could bring in, that would help too. Okay, now let's say her dress is coming in with this this color. Now, this isn't a color that's in the rendering per se, but it's kind of going to be a muted version of the pink that's on the chair. And I'm trying to get a little bit of texture in here with this. Maybe this is more of like a ruffly dress with a nice long train on it. Okay, now that I've got that, I'm going to bring in some of this red. Just a little bit, not enough to distract, just to bring some dark value to this other side. Because remember, it's the light coming in through the window, so this whole side of her body is going to be dark. And then I'm just going to come back in here. Make sure you clean your markers between, as you move from one to another object that you're rendering. Make sure, I'm scumbling now, make sure that you clean your markers, because what you don't want to do is I go ahead and use this on another element within the perspective and there's black all over the tip. So always clean between. So you can see I've blended that dark in, so it's no longer a black outline. It doesn't look like a coloring book. I started with a black line, but then I blended it out and it doesn't look like a coloring book anymore. And that's because I'm scumbling on top of it. Okay, now my ink is dry on this side, so scumbling again. It helps if you apply the same technique to add your highlights and shadows as you did to apply the color. Okay, so that looks great. Now, same thing here. If I was going to come in and if I was going to stipple this like I had before, then I would stipple with my texture on top. Now keep in mind, all of that variation is how you indicate that this dress is a different material than this chair. And so always keep that in mind. That's why it's so important to do with any kind of rendering, to be very mindful and precise with how you're applying the color, because that is how it's going to differentiate between different textures and materials. Same thing here. If I come in, now I've got a chair back here that I haven't rendered yet, but I'm going to use parallel lines and cross hatching for my wood, because of course I'm using the diagonal cross hatching on the carpet, remember? So that's how it's going to help to bring in a variety of textures into our drawing. Keep in mind, again, as we go towards that true height wall in the back, we can lose a little bit of the detail because, again, it's a suggestion of those materials. Now, we still want to do our best. We still want to make it as accurate as possible. But keep in mind that I'm going to be showing my client this rendering, and then I'm going to have those material swatches right next to them so that the client can see this is how it's going to look and this is how the materials feel. So don't get too hung up on the precision. For example, this object back here is going to have a lot of detail to it, and we can get some of that detail in here with our pens, but some of it we're going to lose. That's just the nature of perspective. So be aware that this is one part of the visual presentation. But for this part, again, all the same techniques apply. Layering of color, dark darks, light lights, texture, highlights, shadows. And just take a deep breath. Don't be nervous. You're going to have fun doing this. And when you're done, you'll have a really, really beautiful perspective to show.